Hi everyone, it's Elaine Hamilton. I'm so delighted to be here with Melanie Lam. And the key thing we're going to be talking about is getting to know you a bit more because you're starting a podcast.
Yes.
And I'm very excited about that. So give us, I think it makes sense just to start talking about the background in terms of why and what is the purpose of the podcast. And then we can talk a little bit more about introducing you to the audience.
Sure. Yes. So, I mean, first of all, I should say, thank you for doing this. I was so excited when you said yes. Um, so podcast, yeah, it's new to me to put myself out there. I'm a little bit shy. I think I still a little bit am shy. Uh, but I personally have really, really enjoyed listening to podcasts for the longest time, for many years. And it's those stories that they tell on podcasts. And sometimes it starts off with someone that I have no idea who they are. But by the end of the podcast, it's like I have connected with this person's voice or this person's face on YouTube. And now they are like one of the favorite people that I might follow on YouTube or Instagram, or their album was my favorite from last year, like my favorite album of all time even. So it's this discovering of people that really inspired me to start this podcast. I thought I could maybe do the same for people here. There are a lot of practitioners, healers, and everyone has a story. So, I would really love to share their stories and see where it goes.
Yeah, amazing. I love that. And I think you're absolutely right. There's so much fun stuff happening around Singapore. And if I think to how it's evolved over just in the time that since I started doing my work in Singapore, it is so different now. And there's so much stuff going on, and there's just so much education around holistic healing and how and self-care and how we look after ourselves. So I'm super excited by this as well. And
Thank
so let's just jump straight in. I want to know more about you and your background, kind of what shaped you in terms of your uh, e- evolution, we might say, in terms of
Yeah,
your growth into getting here. So tell us a little bit about
sure.
your past.
Um, I guess it's a very strange path. I mean, because I started working more like in a corporate environment. And it was a very much the sort of climb the ladder type of situation where, you work really hard and you just hope to get promoted every few years, or just, get really good at your job and eventually have some kind of nice office with people reporting to you. And so that was kind of the dream that I thought I was supposed to have, like a big team and a big office and a big title, also, and big money and big perks, like all those things that I thought I was supposed to have. So that was how I started. I kind of started working my way up after school, and um, it just didn't turn out that way. At some point, I just didn't enjoy it anymore. I got burned out, I got retrenched, and um, it was really challenging some at some points during the journey. Um, but that took years. So the first few years were really great. I got to travel and um, I did a lot of, so my role was mainly a marketing executive. So I did a lot of events. So I was doing like boardroom style, events, to like breakfast roundtables, to retreats, staff retreats and client retreats, and those were the ones that allowed me to travel. Um, my favorite memory is we had a sales retreat somewhere up in the mountains, a few hours from New York City. It was really beautiful, and I remember swimming in this heated Olympic pool, and it was so beautiful. And it started snowing outside, so it was really amazing. I had a really great time. So when that kind of crashed and burned. I kind of ended, the company was sold I was eventually let go. I cried like a baby. It was like quite a shock to my system. Like, it made me realize, oh, all good things don't always last forever. It was quite and this is quite common, right? In that world, and in the world of startup or in the world of startups, a lot of tech startups at the time. So that was quite common.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think the whole career thing has changed. I mean, like I'm a generation or two behind you, and it really was you would start in a company and it'd be quite common for you to stay in that company your whole career.
Mm,
Right. But that never happens now because, as you say,
yeah.
there's mergers, there's acquisitions, there's this, there's that, and there is also the expectation that every couple of years you should be moving jobs because otherwise you start to get stuck. So, like you say, this ladder is pretty
Yeah.
different, right? So you had a period of really struggling
Yeah.
um, with
I did.
corporate work.
Yeah, I mean, it was really demanding, and I thought I had to be because I feel so conditioned that I needed to be really aggressive in my work, and I needed to be really like on the ball all the time and in control of everything, and when you do events, there's so many moving parts, and it's like you learn to control every little detail to please almost everybody that's in the event. It was really challenging, but I learned so much. I grew so much out of it. Um, but I would get burned out. I would, yeah, it was crazy. It felt really like 24/7, that kind of pace. Um, and when I left, oh well, when that job was over, I struggled to find something similar or felt the same. I guess that high was hard to replace, even though I had another job that worked out kind of well. I mean, it seemed like a step up, but it was a struggle. And I struggled after that with many jobs, and it just didn't feel right. Something wasn't right.
Yeah.
That was when I learned Reiki. So I started learning Reiki to help me with that. That was the first time I did Reiki level 1.
Mm. So it was almost like that kind of pressure cooker or the things not quite working, then pushed you in a sense to go and look for something else, even though that looking for something else is to try and soothe what's happening now, right? Like probably little did you know that it would then catapult you into a completely different lifestyle.
Yeah.
Reiki has a way of doing that, doesn't it?
Yeah. I
Sneaking up
mean,
on you and going, oh, try this for your
oh,
mental health. And then
Reiki.
before you
Yeah.
know it,
I was like,
before you
wow.
know it, you're like
Yeah.
balancing your chakras and all the there's no
And
going
that's
back.
what I thought it was, right? It's like so relaxing, oh, so calming. And you don't know what it's doing in the background. I think in the background, it was like telling me like something's not right, like, and I
Yeah.
was becoming less and less like tolerant of like BS. Like all the jobs that I was taking, I was like, it just doesn't feel very right?
No, I think you're absolutely right. Well, it is the thing with, I mean, unless you're really lucky, I
Yeah.
feel that corporate jobs, they expect you to fit in with their culture and their socialization and their expectations. And so it's very easy to kind of lose yourself, right?
Yes, yes. I still see that happening to people. They do lose themselves in the and I think I was a bit like that. It's not just the work in the office, and then it's the after work drinks, and then it's the whole thing around it, where everybody's drinking, and they play games, and it's just a whole thing, and it's just sometimes it gets a little bit like when you drink so much, it just gets a bit much. Like the next day I just didn't feel great. I don't feel great the next day. Um Sometimes it's by choice. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it is,
Yeah.
but that's the culture. That's the culture of work sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. So kind of talk us through the process that you went through from, okay, so you learned Reiki. in your mind to try and help you with the corporate, but then what kind of shifted you out completely?
I think it was like when I attended my best friend's wedding. I was able to attend her wedding back in Thailand. And that wedding was so, weddings, events like this can be very auspicious. They can be really like lucky. And at
Yeah.
the same time, I was interviewing for this job that I really wanted. And and I was riding on this happiness and high and good energy. And at the same time, I managed to get the job. Like when I came back, they offered the job to me. And this job was what allowed me to learn Reiki 2, Reiki 3. Like I continue on the Reiki journey.
Mm.
Um, and I even learned like other modalities. Uh, it was just this feeling of hope again, after years of kind of struggle and a little bit of this sense of hopelessness. Like, why are all the jobs so sucky? Why are all the jobs so tough? But this particular job that I then had was really stable, and that was what allowed me to do all this work. And um, the moment I start doing personal development, Reiki 2, Reiki 3, it just started to change. Things changed a
Mm.
lot for the better.
Yeah. And what would you say was the kind of biggest shifts that you noticed? That you already mentioned that you stopped taking so much of the BS. But what
Yeah.
other things do you think when you look back to how you are now to then that kind of changed? Like how
Yeah.
would you say you're a different person?
I
I'm
think
asking tough questions, aren't I?
no. I mean, yeah, it's years of personal development work, and I think Reiki helped me with a lot of acceptance of the situation. Like sometimes it feels so mysterious, right? Like how did it help me? But it did. It by just practicing Reiki, it helped me to not just slow down and calm down, but also like I had these questions in my head, like what am I doing? Why am I doing it? Like I started asking these questions of myself. Um, and it made me think a lot about how I'm living my life. Especially when I'm doing the 1 hour Reiki, because it's like a whole hour. So I start to contemplate like what am I doing with my life? Can I live it better? Can I do better? Or can I just like make the right decision? Sometimes like simple questions I ask like what should I do with my boss or what should I do with a colleague that I might have trouble with, simple things to life questions, right? I was starting to get answers and it started to change for me how I approach my work, how I approach my boss, how I approach just living. And it just became easier, it flowed, and I felt happier. Um, and it opened me up to different modalities. Like I started taking regression therapy. I didn't even know why I did that. It was crazy. I saw a flyer, it said past lives, and I said, oh, sounds fun. I thought it would be great.
But
And
that
it
was a
turned out
deep
to be,
dive, right? That was
yes, yeah.
super deep.
It turned out to be super deep. Like it's soul work, it's not even like just past lives, it's soul work. It's really confronting a lot of the difficult um like stuff, from childhood to now to every difficult situation, basically, every embarrassing situation. Um, but it was worth it. That's what the healing was. It's a lot of healing, self-development and healing.
And I think you've hit on a really important point as well, right? It's like proper healing, you can't run from it. Like you have to because it just keeps coming back. So if you try and suppress it, like you say, you go out drinking with your buddies or you're in some kind of corporate machine,
Mhm.
it might appear that you're fitting in, but slowly or later, what am I trying to say?
Slowly or
Sooner or later, um, it's not going to work anymore, right?
yeah, it's like forcing it, I think, and faking it. not only was it like tough on the body, all that drinking, it was also tough like emotionally, mentally. It made me realize that why am I drinking so much? Like I would question myself, like why am I making these choices?
Mm.
That made me feel like crap the next day. Uh, and I realized, I need to make better choices. I needed to not be so hard on my body, like not drink so much and smoke too, and smoke so much and just to fit in and just to be part of the gang. Um, so it's a lot of letting go of these very familiar situations I was in for many years.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you kind of eventually shifted out of corporate and into what you're doing now, did you lose, like, did things actually change? Did you lose friends, find new ones? Because that's oftentimes what people worry about, right? That their old life will be kind of decimated in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. In I mean, it's a big change for me. It's a huge change, but it also seems like the right thing to do, even though that there's been some letting go of certain people, certain habits, certain lifestyles that I miss sometimes. But I feel it feels right. It feels like I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Mm.
I think it's all the work, when I did like when I continue with Reiki, when I did like regression sessions, regression therapy sessions, like I've done a lot of those sessions. I was in a lot of them as a client and working through all the issues that I've had. I feel like I've let go of all these personalities maybe or stuff that I don't need. Like I don't need to be hanging out so late at night. I don't need to be smoking every 5 minutes just to hang out with someone I might be interested in talking to, things like that. Like I don't need to be doing things to impress someone else. Like I grew into an acceptance of myself.
Right.
And I think that's really important, like even for me to share to my clients, that the difference is that when I wake up in the morning, I feel a little bit more peace in my heart. Like I don't feel unhappy or anxious about something
Yeah.
that's going to happen that day at work. So that's a really big difference for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
again, it comes back to like you were saying before, when you're trying to fake it versus just being
Yeah.
comfortable, I guess, in your own
Yeah.
skin, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of anxiety with faking it, right? There's a lot of like building up of, I'm this person, I'm this really super successful, person who knows a lot and traveled the world. And so there's that personality is really difficult to keep up. Uh,
Yeah, because you know it's fake.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
someone's gonna find out.
yeah,
It's it's a lot. It's a lot.
yeah,
I totally agree with you. It's funny, isn't it? Because it's like as things simplify, there's a lot more peace and calm and stuff like that. So talk us through all the different things you offer now and yeah, and what you do.
yes. So I do transpersonal regression therapy combined with hypnotherapy. So because of the different modalities that I have learned, I do sometimes combine them when and where it's necessary, as and when it's necessary. So it's a really like an experiential thing. Like every session is so different.
Mm.
Even if it's the same client for different sessions, every session is so different. Usually they come in with something that they would like to work on, something that's bothering them, whether it's a career issue, a boss issue, a relationship issue, parents, in-laws, anything, almost anything, anxiety, fears. So they come in with something like that and we work through it. We find the cause of it. We find the root cause of it. So sometimes people call it root cause therapy. Um, and usually it's something that has happened maybe in childhood And then sometimes it's something that has happened in a past life. So I'm
Yeah.
trained to do both. And I would walk them through whatever that past event might have been. And then their healing interventions, to allow them to let go of those events. And the realization always helps, right? They always realize like, oh, that was what caused this. And there's an emotional resonance. There's also like some kind of a frequency resonance, right? This event caused this anxiety, and it's a similar type of, resonance. So that's what we try to find. Whatever they come with, we try to find that event.
Yeah. And it always amazes me because what you're describing
Mm,
is some root cause event that might not have even happened in this life.
yeah.
Or if it did happen, then it was so way back as a child. And yet somehow it's amazing how the body just keeps bringing it up for healing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Until you deal with it, it just keeps coming back up in different forms, like some relationship, and then another. If you get rid of that relationship, another one pops up. But if you get rid of that, another one pops up. You're just like, oh, for God's sake.
Yeah. And it's the same with bosses too. It's like one boss and then you leave and then another one pops up. And it's in different genders as well, like it's not always the same recognizable person, but it's the same lesson
Yeah,
that we are supposed to learn. So the
yeah,
moment we learn the lesson, I think that person kind of goes away forever, you know? But that's what it's
yeah,
meant to happen. It's like once you heal it fully, that doesn't really pop up in your life anymore. It's done. It's done. It's gone. You've learned the
or
lesson.
what I've noticed is that it might pop up just to see, are you completely done? But your response to it is so different. That's what I noticed with me
Yeah.
is that, I have maybe a difficult relationship will come up and go, "Rah, rah, 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 rah," and I'll just be like, what are you trying to do? Like there'll be no reaction or response compared to how it was before.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And then that's almost something for you to go, oh my God, I would have dealt with that so differently
Yeah.
6 months ago or whatever. And now I'm dealing with it like a grown up.
Yeah.
Yay for me. And then that's part of the healing process because I think oftentimes people think, well, then as I go through my healing, no bad things should happen to me anymore. But it's not like that, is it? It's like, well, bad things will continue, good things, bad things, all part of the swing of life. But when those bad things come, you just don't trigger like you used to. So somehow the bad thing isn't quite as bad, right?
Yes. Yes. I feel that way too. I've had multiple tests, of I think they're not like the same necessary frequency, like slightly different, but they still come up to test us. And um exactly like you said, it's not about that you never have any suffering anymore. It's not about like, oh, you've healed all your wounds and you're like super enlightened or you're like super happy. And it doesn't happen that way. I think it's we are still human, we still live our lives, and we still go through day-to-day events. We still go through day-to-day things that trigger us or are obstacles in our way. And like you said, I also see this in myself, how, oh, I'm actually not that bothered by it anymore. Like I'm not bothered by this person anymore or this boss or this, like I see it differently. Like
Yeah.
it's opened the new perspective when I think about how I used to deal with this and how I do it now. And it's like a lot calmer, a lot peaceful, and a lot like in flow. Like I know I'm doing the right thing in how I'm dealing with it versus how I used to probably flare up or or get really anxious or just really upset or let it affect me or ruminate, which is what I used to do. I feel that's a big change. It's like I don't ruminate anymore. Like I don't let things affect me. It's like I've learned how to let things go, and then life becomes so much peaceful.
Yeah, that's major, right?
Yeah.
That's so major when you think, and it is also amazing then when you think back to how much energy you put into the blah, 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 blah,
Oh,
blah.
yeah. A
And
lot.
then you're kind of like, even that, when you remove that, you have so much more energy to just enjoy your life, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of last time, right? There's a lot of like, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? I should have, I should have. There was so much of that. And it took up so much energy, right? Yeah.
I know. Oh, thank God that's gone. Woof. So you said before a little bit about your international school experience. Do you want to like talk us through that?
Yes. So I so my parents moved to Bangkok, Thailand for a few years, and I went with them and attended an international school in my teens. So it was kind of a big change because I grew up in Singapore. I grew up here. And when I got there, I was about 13. Um, it's like stepping into this new space, and I met people, like I met friends who said like, oh, I grew up in Singapore too, but I moved to the States and then now I live here, and that was in Thailand. And it's like they have lived in three different countries by the time they're 6 years old, and there I was like at 13, it's my first time out of in this new school, and it was really strange. It's just one of those situations, oh, why am I here? Um, but I think it really taught me how to adjust. Like I really learned how to adjust. I learned uh getting along with different cultures, and it really expanded my view of what the world is, when we go to school with, people of all from different countries, and it was really amazing. It was a great experience.
Yeah, I think it's so important to travel and see because otherwise you can get very insular, right? From
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And we were also talking about the fact that you're married,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Do you want to talk about that?
Yes. So, uh, I'm married to Amelia. She's amazing. She's my wife. We got married 2 years ago in Australia in Margaret River, and it was really magical. Um, Sometimes it's hard to describe those experiences where it feels almost out of body. It was so beautiful. Margaret River has a lot of greenery, cows, you know, and just kangaroos everywhere. And we got married in a little Airbnb in a vineyard filled with wine, and I mean it was just really really beautiful. It was a great experience also. And so we are I think it's 11 years since we've been together this year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a long
Congratulations.
time. Thank you.
And do you think that there's anything around, like, I don't know, is it difficult in Singapore being a same-sex couple?
Yeah, it's strange to talk about it because I don't usually, and
Mm,
it's not because I'm not out. I'm quite open about it, but I think people don't talk about it a lot. People are um sometimes open but sometimes not, so it's really a mixed. so
right.
so I try sometimes to introduce her as just my partner, because I've tried saying wife once. Like I experimented saying wife and someone got really flustered, so I decided not to do it again. So I just say partner. I just say she's just my partner.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And do you think that that is also something, we talk about the societal with the corporate
Yeah.
and with growing up in Singapore and then being thrown into the international school and then also kind of having I guess a alternative lifestyle in that or alternative choice, something that
Yeah.
maybe in a country like Singapore is it's very early days still, isn't it? To even
It
be
is.
allowed to call your wife your wife.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would love to call her my wife more often. Like, it feels strange even saying it because I don't get to say it a lot or at all. So, it's always we tend to make all these adjustments, right? Everywhere we go to fit in, and my life has been full of that all the time. So, but I think that's why I feel it's important to heal ourselves, right? Because the peace in here, it's the most important every day. um and like looking at myself in the mirror, like I feel at peace, and I know that I have to make adjustments sometimes. Sometimes I feel uncomfortable, sometimes someone else, there's someone else's discomfort, but it's part of living here, I think. So it's just
But I love the fact that you're doing a podcast, even though like you were kind of saying to me earlier, oh, I feel a bit nervous about
yeah.
being and expressing myself. But it's so beautiful listening to you talk because essentially, even through the discomfort, we're still doing this,
Yeah.
right? And you're still willing and open to talk about things that might be a bit kind of so-called edgy, right? On the
Yeah.
edges of what is seen as typical in
Yeah.
society or expected in society. And so I think it's really important. And I love the fact that you're doing this, honestly. I
Thank you.
just think it's
Yes.
great.
Thank you.
And hopefully you find lots of people
Yeah.
who will be open and honest and willing to talk about things that are a little bit more out there,
Yeah, yeah, I
right?
hope so too. Yes, I hope so too. And when people share their stories, I think when people connect to those stories, it makes us feel less alone,
100.
right? And a lot of things that are considered taboo, like you said, but we all go through them, at different stages of all our lives. And I know the pressures of living here. I've lived here for so many years. So the pressure to be perfect, right? To have a perfect family, to have a perfect job. And that really it's really tough for a lot of people here. So I hope I can do a little bit of, service by sharing my story and for others to come on too, and share their story. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because also at the end of the day, you're a lovely light bulb shining by saying, hey, and on this journey, I got rid of a lot of the mental noise.
Mhm.
And that's also really interesting, isn't it? Because even though in a sense you've chosen a path less traveled and more difficult in a sense, right? To start up doing your own thing and doing all that kind of thing, but you're still happier doing it.
I am, yeah. And of course there are struggles too. Like it's not like I'm perfect now, but yeah, there's always struggles, it's true, but I do feel so much happier. And I think despite the difficulties, despite the challenges, it's really worth it. It feels really, I mean the pain was worth the journey, and where I am and how I feel every day, it's worth all that, it's I don't know. I don't want to feel like I'm selling. You know, but I don't know what to say sometimes. It's because it's so deep, right? Sometimes the change,
Yeah, yeah,
um
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because I was thinking this the other day that the more I go on my own spiritual journey, the less society would label me successful
Yeah, yeah,
in
I
their
think
eyes, right?
I
Like
think so.
I definitely have a lot less in the bank account, and I
Yeah.
definitely have a lot less friends, and I definitely have a lot less social engagements. And if you were someone that was very concerned about society, you would be horrified looking at me. You'd just be like, I definitely do not want that.
Yeah.
But as you
Yeah.
say, when my experience waking up every morning,
Yeah.
I wouldn't change it for what I was 30 years ago, busting my gut in the corporate world, completely up to here with anxiety and stress. And even though I had, like a very, very healthy bank account, but I was waking up like you were every morning with this kind of weird anxiety and stress, and it wasn't worth it. Just wasn't worth it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. I think this is going to be great fun. And
Thank you.
I
Yeah.
know you're going to be doing really interesting things with this. So is there anything else before,
Thank
as we wrap up, anything else that you want to kind of add to the conversation?
Not really. I think I just want to thank everyone for listening and I don't know, being open-minded, I guess, to the crazy things we might be talking about. So look out for it. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. There's a lot of scope for craziness.
Yeah. Yeah. Join us.
Oh, thank you so much for this conversation. It's been an absolute delight.
Thank you so much.